Hi, I'm Victor Lambs, and you're listening to The Secrets of Stargate, where we talk about hidden meanings and deeper layers found in the Stargate movies, TV series, and more. Joining me today are Father Cory Sticha. Hi, Father.
Howdy, Victor.
And Lisa Jones. Hi, Lisa.
Hey, Victor.
And today we are discussing the 9th episode of Season 1 of Stargate Atlantis, Home. In this episode, the team discovers a mysterious planet covered in fog that seems to hold the key to returning them to Earth. Dr. McKay, the team's resident genius, figures out that the fog can power the Stargate, allowing them to dial home. Rodney, Dr. Weir, Taylor, and Major Shepard agree to return to Earth, even though they know it may be a one-way trip. On Earth, they are greeted by Sergeant Harriman, otherwise known as Walter, and General George Hammond. Dr. Weir is reunited with Simon Wallace, Rodney McKay is surrounded by idiots, and Major Shepard is reunited with some old, dead friends. Soon the Atlantis crew realizes that something is amiss. In fact, the fog is actually made up of sentient beings who create illusions in order to keep the team trapped on the planet of mist. They do this because each time the Stargate is activated, thousands, if not millions, of mist creatures die. The Atlantis crew realizes that the fog beings were just trying to protect themselves, and they agree to not dial Earth in exchange for being set free. It's a classic case of misunderstanding and miscommunication with a dash of science fiction thrown in for good measure. Now that we know what Grok thinks of this episode, what did you think of this episode, Father Cory?
I grok what it's saying. No, it's better than the Gamekeeper. For virtual reality life. No, this is a good one. This is an enjoyable episode. It's done pretty well for the. We think we're one place when we're really another. I like they bring in kind of the outer limits as part of it. With Rodney watching TV. And of course, slowly the team kind of figures out there's something just not right here. So this is a good one, and of course we get to see General Hammond, and again, which is always a great thing. Don S. Davis, always a wonderful thing to see. So, yeah, I like this one.
Excellent. How about you, Lisa? What did you think?
I really enjoyed it. I like the humor. The Stargate Atlantis just really does a good job with their characters and infusing. It's a sci-fi show, but the characters just really the way they bounce off of each other. And you even had Weir going along with this one, which, I was like, why are you going? Doesn't make any sense. But anyway, we all know how it worked out. But I liked it a lot. Shepard just cracks me up with Taylor and how quickly he figured out what was going on. So it was. I guess in a way you say for a sci-fi show, it's predictable, but they did it in such an entertaining way. I'll watch it again.
Yeah. Yeah. Usually I don't like these kinds of episodes where it becomes obvious that somebody's messing with the characters, but the characters don't realize it. When the audience knows, but the characters don't know, it just kind of is frustrating for me, but I really like this one. It does seem like a season 2 episode of SG1. Father Cory, I think you nailed it with the Gamekeeper comparisons there, but I like this one a lot better than the Gamekeeper. Yeah, and it's good to see Don S. Davis again, and that's kind of one of your first clues that something might be amiss. It's like, where's General O'Neill? Why is General Hammond here? But at the same time, I think this is probably more screen time than General Hammond got in any episode in his last 2 seasons of SG1. So it's really cool to see him, even if he is just a missed alien. Yep. But no, there's a lot of really cool things here.
The funny part is Grok, it completely missed one of the travelers. Lieutenant Ford was also there.
Oh, that's right.
We only see him for a little bit.
Yeah.
I think most of us missed Lieutenant Ford in this episode.
Yeah,
well, we're not even sure if the pizza delivery Ford was the real one or if that was the missed version.
Yeah, we didn't get to see him visiting his grandparents or anything.
Yep.
And he got the orders to be reassigned, and that was really all we saw.
Yeah.
And then we see him at the end even he doesn't even say anything. He's just standing in the background behind Shepard.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, you mentioned Hammond, and of course there were a couple other clues Of course, you look at the wiki. Oh yeah, these are goofs, but they could be clues.
Mm-hmm.
He's only a 2-star general in this.
Mhm.
Well, he got promoted to 3-star. So that's another little maybe something else is going on here kind of hint.
Yeah, I do like even the opening of this episode, just to go back to the beginning where we get a pretty long effects shot of, the camera panning over, it's, CG, but panning over the planet of mist past these kind of cool pillars to the Stargate. And it's a pretty long, just pure effects shot, which is unusual you don't see that in SG-1 at this time, of course.
And nicely done too. You can see it if you're watching the video, you can see it behind Victor there, the pillars. But nicely done effect. Which, fog isn't a terrible effect to do, but it's not easy either.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Unfortunately, there wasn't a commentary for this, so I couldn't tell, what combination of, practical and computer generated fog they used. But
right.
Mm-hmm.
And we get lots of Rodney being Rodney right off the bat, where he wants to take the control crystal out of the Atlantis Stargate, basically leaving Atlantis completely cut off from everything and just bring it to this planet where he might not even be able to dial back. And Shepard, of course, has to remind him how long it will take for a puddle jumper to reach him.
Yeah. And that's from Atlantis, too.
Yes. Yeah. 840 years. And Shepard, of course, just rattles that off because as we learn, previous episode, that Shepard is actually quite good at math.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. I love it even before that, where Rodney's like, there's a lot of, what was it? There was a lot of energy in this mist or something.
Mm-hmm.
And Shepard's like, well, how much? And he's like, well, do you joules or hertz? And Shepard's like,
a lot.
I love that kind of stuff. I just love the way they interact like that. It's so
and
awesome.
then they're wearing the protection suits, and Rodney's like, we don't actually need these. Now you tell us. After they'd done all this walking, apparently, the only spot on the planet that had any signs of civilization was just around the gate, was just the pillars and the gate itself.
Mm-hmm. And
so they walked all around this planet, of course, not finding anything. So and through the fog, that's not really fog because it's not water vapor.
Mm-hmm. So could this? Maybe I should ask this later, but I'm going to ask it right now. So the mist, could this be related to the water from Watergate?
Yeah, I guess so. I mean, it's a living.
Theory.
Yeah.
I mean, wasn't that kind of the same premise?
Yeah, it was sentient.
Except for that was kind of. I mean, these are non-corporeal beings versus so they looked like a fog, but they really didn't have any kind of form. I don't know if the water you could say technically has a form per se, but you could be right though. I mean, it could be similar idea anyways, where they're non-corporeal, but you can at least see them as something.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And then I see entity. We had entity with the same kind of a premise too.
Yeah.
Where it was every time you open the gate, it would, they were sitting there and it killed them and they wanted to.
Yep.
No, that was, they were trying to heal him. There was another one where every time you open the gate, it kills people. It kills them.
Yeah.
I don't remember.
What's that?
Was it Watergate or
And they had to promise to never go back to your planet. Oh no, it was the one with Carter where the light thing took over her body, the energy.
Yeah.
And they said, we sent a probe and no, you destroyed us. And
yeah, I do remember that one. They've really
used kind of this premise over and over, but I thought this was a really clever way to do it.
Yeah, this is a fairly typical sci-fi plot of, there's beings we don't understand and our even being there harms them kind of thing. And, but this is a little bit different where these beings they're just pure energy basically. And oh, by the way, every time you start up the gate, the gate doesn't use its own batteries. It just suctions up a whole bunch of the beings and uses them instead.
Yeah.
Oops.
Yeah, which I felt kind of bad because at the end, not to jump ahead to the end because we'll come back, but at the end, it's oh, well, we still got to get back to Atlantis. So sorry.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah. It's they don't really address that.
Oops.
Yeah, you might want to clear out except for you, Chet, and you, Shemp. Yeah.
Yeah, it's your guys' turn. No. Well, I'm surprised they didn't show the effects of the fog and then have them kind of clear out from around the gate or something.
Yeah.
Like that,
oh yeah.
where then the gate would use its own energy for that one travel.
Yeah, that would be the way to do it. But yeah, so we get a lot of once they find out that the gate may be able to dial Earth, we get a lot of who is going to go because it may be a one-way trip.
Mhm.
And Shepard knows the most about the Wraith, so can provide that intel.
Yep.
We're but then once they find out that from Walter that the Asgard have been upgrading the Prometheus engines, of course it's it's an illusion. They're being told what they want to hear.
Right.
They're like, oh, well, we can all go and then we can all just fly back here. But it's actually pretty cool because when we last heard about the Prometheus, they were trying to get the Asgard to upgrade the engines, and also on SG-1, the Covenant or whatever that.
Well, it would make sense though that the Atlantis crew would know that those plans were in place, that they want to ask. So of course, what they want to hear is that we asked and they said yes, and they're working on it right now. But there was a big accident and.
Yeah, and then it echoes what we hear at the end of the season, or at least beginning of season 2 with the Daedalus, that actually does have souped up Asgard engines and can fly between the galaxies and stuff. So not to do too much of a spoiler there.
But again, when they're like, oh, we can all go. Did anyone else think that was strange?
Yeah, I am. You think you would at least have had like Ford saying, okay, I love that scene, by the way, where, well, we got to go check this out. And Weir goes, Shepard goes, Ford or Lieutenant?
Yeah.
Or no, I was like, Major, Lieutenant?
Yeah. That was a good one. Yeah.
But I'm surprised Ford didn't get sent back to Atlantis to let people know that, they were able to, communicate and go through.
And they're cut off. They don't have a gate. I mean, I guess they can't dial. Wait, could they not dial Earth? They couldn't dial at all.
They could. Well, no, they couldn't dial Earth because that crystal that Kay took out was the 8th chevron.
Okay. I couldn't remember if it hurt the whole gate though or not.
There was a chance they were worried about it being damaged, but it didn't seem to me like it was this will completely disable the Atlantis gate. It just means the Atlantis gate can't dial Earth because that one device is the kind of the security to keep the Wraith from going other galaxies.
Okay.
Yeah, and so they dial the gate. They hear Walter's voice saying, "Is this some kind of a sick joke or whatever?" And it's like, "No, it's really us. Here's our IDC." Yeah. And they're like, "Oh, well, welcome to Earth." And Hammond's there, and so it's pretty cool. Like, just that's I think all the opening, and then we're into the episode.
How did you get this number?
Yeah, exactly. New gate, who dis?
Yeah,
it's a prank call.
Yeah. But and then so they're debriefed. Initially Hammond doesn't want to send anybody back to Atlantis and wants to send everybody back to Earth because the Wraith threat seems rightly so, too credible that if they ever did find a way back to. But I'm surprised that the Wraith, like in 10,000 years, haven't been sending hive ships just towards the other galaxies just in case, like, I don't know. That's what I would do if I were the Wraith. Just
put them on autopilot and, hibernate for 1,000 years or whatever until they reach the next one.
And just say, let's see what's going on in this galaxy and see if there's any food there.
The Wraith don't seem that intelligent.
Yeah.
They would, because, I mean, you'd think they would figure out other ways of handling their feeding and everything like that.
Yeah.
They're hive mind. I mean, they really are, so they're gonna keep their hive together as much as they can.
Yeah, I guess it makes sense. And then, but I mean, it's and then you're like, oh no, are they really going to shut down the Atlantis expedition? And but before they have time to think about that, Dr. Weir gets to be reunited with Simon, or boring Simon, and that really says something about.
Oh, you mean Nareem? I mean, no.
Yeah, Nareem.
My husband goes, "Oh, he did escape Talana."
Yeah, he did.
And her dog.
Yeah.
And her dog.
Which happens to be was Tori Higginson's dog.
Oh, okay.
That's why the dog was so excited to see her, because it was really her dog.
Well, we had Richard Dean Anderson's dog on a previous Stargate episode, so why not Tori Higginson's dog?
Yep.
And I don't know, Stargate can't write its female characters' boyfriends very well without just making them the most boring. I don't know if it's just because, like, well, we can't give them a personality because that would show up our female leads. We can't
And they're only going to be here for a couple of episodes anyway, so we don't want people to actually like them.
Well, I'm going to say something that's probably not nice. What if it's him? What if it's the way he acts? Because he wasn't all that exciting of a boyfriend in Stargate.
That's true. Yeah.
So, like, maybe it's just the way you know.
Well, then again, we give Pete, at least I give Pete a hard time.
Yeah.
But, at least, that is a Deloise that can act, so.
Yeah.
And he does argue with Carter, too.
He is interesting, so.
Yeah. Pete definitely has personality.
Annoying,
we just might not like him, but he has personality.
Yeah. It's an annoying personality, but it's a personality.
Yeah, I don't know why I don't know where Simon is so bland. Maybe because it was fake Simon, really. But, I mean, he's saying things like you wouldn't. And why does he know all about Atlantis? And he's like, choose me, not that. And I don't know.
Well, he knew some because, remember she left a recording for him that told about it. Now, not completely, like you said, I suppose because your security clearance, you can't, or my security clearance doesn't let me know what all you've been doing. It's like, no, you can just know what you needed to know. But it makes sense, though, too, that he would be bland because so was fake Hammond, or Missed Hammond, as the wiki puts it. He wasn't completely Hammond either,
Yeah. He wasn't. He didn't have the same. You're right. I hadn't thought about that with Hammond. He did not have the same charisma that Hammond usually has.
And we know definitely Don S. Davis is a great actor, so he could do that pretty easily.
Right.
But tone it down.
Yeah. But at least when Rodney and Major Shepard, imagine a reality for them. Rodney has a neighbor that's into him. Major Shepard is able to kind of game it, so he gets the ultimate bachelor pad, and all of his friends are there for a party with pizza and beer.
He takes Taylor out shopping for hours.
Yeah.
Which, that's another clue. It's like, gosh, Teal'c wasn't let off the base for, years, and then they're letting Taylor go on a shopping spree. So,
yeah, and they got a driver. I mean, he wasn't driving. It was like a limo or a town car, and they were.
Yeah, and like you said, they got the bachelor pad, and they got the party going, and Coors got product placement.
Yeah.
Coors and Coors Light prominently displayed.
Of course, you think Shepard did figure it out pretty early, because even while they're in the car, he says,
"Well, I wonder if
he said something that was something's off, or something's not quite right."
He made it sound like, I wonder if Hammond, Hammond's reaction was kind of what first got him thinking, what's going on here?
Because he did say that was the shortest debrief ever.
Yep.
Yeah.
And no mention of General O'Neill.
Nope.
Or any member of SG-1. None of them were there. We did get some of the same nerds, though.
Yeah. Yeah, background nerds. We don't even get Dr. Lee or anything.
Nope.
That's true.
Not yet, anyways.
Walter got a lot of screen time and a lot of words for a change.
Yep. Yeah, that should really have set us off that this is a
fake reality.
Rather than somebody else get on and say, "Come on through," it's like Walter's like, "Oh no, I got it. Like,
I got you. Now. You're good."
Yeah.
I don't need to check with anybody. Thumbs up.
But it does lead, so it does not say very good things about Dr. Weir's kind of like fantasy life that she imagines, like the most boring version of her boyfriend.
I mean, she did have pretty sweet BMW, that bright red convertible BMW. I'd take that. Yeah. That'd be fun.
Yeah.
That'd be a cruiser. We could handle that.
It was a nice house with a garden. I mean, that was really nice.
Yeah.
And a dog. I mean, come on.
A dog. Yeah. Maybe she likes her men boring. I don't know.
Probably.
And apart from Rodney's neighbor, all he can kind of conjure up is that everybody's stupider than him, which makes sense, and that nothing makes sense. And we do get some good clues that everybody's trapped in their own reality, not sharing a reality, because Dr. Weir interacts with Rodney, and Rodney's wearing doctor clothes, different clothes than when
lab coats.
Yeah, when he interacts with Dr. Weir, and she's wearing something different. So you realize that they're all kind of in their insulated or isolated realities, except for Shepard and Taylor, who at the end we learn it's because Taylor had no memory of Earth. They kind of partnered her up with Shepard, and she could share his reality.
Well, and even when Shepard and Taylor were talking, you could kind of imply, Shepard was kind of implying that maybe Taylor's part of the illusion too for him.
Yeah.
Because when he handed handed her the beer, and of course she starts chugging it, which is great. I mean, it's just like she doesn't know what beer is, but boy, she liked it.
Yeah.
And that was you could kind of see in Shepard's face, he's kind of looking at her, is like, "Are you part of this illusion too?"
Mm-hmm.
Because it then wasn't until the end he was like, "I thought you were okay," or I thought you were real, something like that.
Well, it's like Ford comes in with the pizzas, and then he threatens him because he's not sure if he's real or not.
Yeah.
But I think at one point Shepard made a comment that Weir wasn't there, and Weir made a comment that Shepard wasn't there.
Right.
On the expedition. So that was another huge clue. If you hadn't caught on with the clothes and stuff, it was like they both think the other didn't come.
Right. And that was when he was talking to Taylor. He said something about, thinking about, Weir and everybody back at Atlantis.
Yeah.
And she said, "Well, I'm sure they're all okay." And I think that was kind of to throw him off a little bit. And maybe at that point, Taylor was starting to think the same, it's like, is this really Shepard I'm with? Or is this part of an illusion?
Yeah. So this was a Malatsian Mully episode. And so you do get kind of that twist that they like to put into every episode. And I do like how they kind of lampshade it with, having Rodney McKay watching The Outer Limits. And then I think they've referenced it at another time, which was Brad Wright's show before he did Stargate.
Yeah. The new Outer Limits, not the old school black and white.
Yeah.
Version.
Yeah.
Yeah, as far as alternate reality episodes go, I think I like this. It's one of the best. It's it's one I remember, certainly, every time I rewatch the show. It's like, oh yeah, it's the one where Taylor drinks a beer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Chugs a beer.
Yeah.
Chugs a beer.
Yeah.
Well, and I love the way they did the kind of reveal towards the end where you had Weir and Rodney talking to each other, but
alternate versions of them, yeah.
But it was alternate versions. So like you see Weir talking to Rodney and he's wearing the lab coat, and then you see Rodney talking to Weir and he's wearing his clothes again and she's wearing something different. It was really nicely done.
Well, and then they've got that Shepard where his friends show up, his friends who had died in the helicopter crash, and he's like, "Okay, come in." And at this point, you can tell that he knows it's fake.
Uh-huh.
And then eventually it finally clicks with him. It's like, "Okay, this is done.
Yeah.
We're done with this." He enjoyed the party for a while anyways.
And then, they talk about the bachelor pad and he goes, "I bet the fridge is full of," and then he opens it and there's beer. And then a little bit later, he's like, "All that's missing are friends." Ding dong. So you could see that he was working it out.
And that's one thing I like about Atlantis is, Shepard is smart and they show he's smart, but he doesn't act smart until something clicks in. He goes, "Okay, I got to think through this." And then he gets scenes like that where he's like, "Okay, there is something wrong and I'm going to test this right now."
And then,
Yeah. And then at the end, he's like, imagine what I could have thought up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, he had that hottie, the short top there right next to him, and he's like, "Oh yeah."
What was that? Like his 6th grade teacher or something?
Oh, there was one sitting brilliant. There too. Yeah,
yeah,
like older lady sitting there.
That was funny.
Yeah,
but I do like it because when he said that, I'm kind of kicking myself for what I could have imagined.
Yeah,
and he kind of had that window of opportunity vibe, where Jack and Teal got to do all these things and during the loops, and he's like, "Man, I coulda, shoulda, woulda."
Yep.
Well, and then at the end when they find out the aliens and the alien reveals itself through General Hammond, and he's like, "Well, we can't let you leave, so we'll give you the chance to create your own reality."
Yep.
And McKay is like, "But we still need to eat. We need water and food. Well, we'll die without it." And Hammond alien goes, "Well, then I suggest you make the most of what time you have left."
Yeah.
So good.
It's like you
not a question of if, it's when.
Yeah.
I loved that.
Yeah.
And then Rodney's like, "How long have we been gone? Like, have I been fed?" Like,
yeah. And then, of course, the first thing's out of his mouth once we're back in the road. "Yep, I'm hungry. This is real." Well, Rodney though at least got what he wanted. He got the date with the hot girl, so
that's true.
That's right.
And then he said, "Well, I should have known where she went from hates me but loves my cat to giving me a date."
Right.
Yeah, exactly.
That was good.
And I loved when he comes in, even though it's funnier because it's his own fantasy. He checks his answering machine messages and he has no messages.
Yeah.
He's like, you have no messages. And he's been gone for like 6 months. And he's like, must have been a power outage.
Whatever chips he's been leaving there for 6 months or whatever, just starts chowing down.
Yeah.
Yeah. I love that power outage. That was good.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, everyone except for Ford. Everybody, well, and I would say Ware was kind of boring, but
Yeah.
it was so fun. And then you're like, where was Ford? Was he?
He was reassigned to another unit.
to Antarctica again.
And it wasn't even like, oh yeah, and I got this elite unit of the Marines.
Yeah.
It's like, nope.
Yeah.
Is that what his mind, is that it? Is that his mind is self-doubting so much that he just worries he's going to send him away?
Yeah, I think it was actually. He didn't feel like he belonged there.
Yeah.
Once again, he gets the short end of the stick. I mean, he gets treated pretty rough in this.
Yeah.
Which explains what they do with his character a little further down the road.
Not too far away, yeah.
Yeah.
Before then he gets to shoot the giant railgun on Atlantis and stuff.
Yeah.
At least he gets to do that.
Nice.
Yeah, so I liked it. It was good and funny and had some good science fiction elements.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I agree. Very much so. I did like where they're talking about when Rodney's trying to figure out how to get dialed back to Atlantis or back to Atlantis. How he to the planet, the fog planet. And he goes, well, it's like a long distance call when you know they'll pick up and accept.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like, oh boy, people don't know that today. Call and collect.
I didn't think about that.
Yeah.
See, this is where it'd been good if Jack had been here with us. We're like, Jack, do you know what a
Yeah, do you know what a collect call is? Or a long collect call where you call me, it's Father Cory, call me back.
Yes, right.
Yeah, exactly. It's Bob, we ought a baby eats a boy.
Yeah.
Commercial.
Help, I'm in jail, call a lawyer. Yeah.
Like I said, I just asked my kids, like, do you know about these things? Have you ever used a payphone?
Well, our 11-year-old watches like Technology Connections and Tech-Moan, and so he's totally into
okay, so he gets a little of that.
Yeah, he wants an 8-track player. He's
oh gosh.
Yeah, we have to hook up our
very cool
64s now and stuff. But yeah,
good.
Yeah, so there are kids out there who know about it, and yeah, it was funny. I remember like it was a long time ago, but I took one of our kids to an eye doctor, and it was like because he was 4 or 5 maybe, and we thought like he said the TV looked fuzzy, and so we're like, you probably need glasses. So we took him to the eye doctor, and it was like kind of an old school eye doctor, and he had these like really old cards with like icons on them, and they were like from the 50s or 60s.
Oh, cool!
And he was holding them up. He's like, and one of them was like it was like this very simple icon of like a rotary phone. It was like a line for the handset and then like a dial underneath it. And I was like, he's not going to know what that is. And then he held it up and my kid was like, that's a phone. And I was like, oh, okay, cool. So, some of that, maybe there's a collective unconscious or he had seen it someplace.
It'd be like, holding up what's this? You hold up a floppy disk. That's the save icon.
Exactly. Yeah. So, yeah. So I guess kids know more about legacy tech than maybe we give them credit for.
It's called vintage now, and it's very popular.
Yeah, there you go. Well, my house is full of it.
Well, speaking of vintage, we didn't mention Shepard's choice of reading material because he knew it was going to be a long time.
Oh yeah,
War and Peace.
Yeah, and he's on page 17?
Yeah, just started.
Yeah, and so I'm wondering, it's like how many books were each of them allowed because they were given very limited possessions, or did they just send through like a whole like chest full of books that everybody could read? That would be the way I would do it.
Yep. Or maybe a combination of both. You're allowed so much weight of whatever resources you want. Like he brought videos of football games and things like that.
Oh, did you catch it when he tells Taylor I could take you back to Earth and you can see the things that we can get more popcorn and you can see a Ferris wheel and what was it, a hockey game?
Football game.
Yeah.
She's kind of like, okay.
But she was up for the popcorn. She was good for the pop. She liked popcorn.
I did like the way he said it's like, remember when we ate the last of the popcorn? And she's like, yeah. He's like, we can get more.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, it's a yeah. We do get messages from Pegasus like in a few episodes, and that's kind of I like that one too.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of along the same lines. But any other thoughts about this one?
I think that was it. Yep.
If we're only on episode 9 of Atlantis, but it just, I know I say this all the time, but I just feel like it hit the ground running. Like they learned so much from when they did SG1 and starting out that they just really, the writing is cohesive. The characters are well done. And I really enjoy it from the get-go.
Yep, exactly. And it only gets better from here.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we do have a couple of really good episodes coming up. Yeah. And then in other languages, they like this as well. In most, it was some version of home. In French, we got Retour sur Terre, which means back on Earth. Mm-hmm. And then in German, we got Zurück auf der Erde, which also means back to Earth. So kind of giving away the, but it's a fake out. So I can.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it wasn't like they think they're back on Earth, but really aliens have taken over their minds.
Yeah. Illusions of the missed aliens.
Yeah.
Oh, and then there's a how do we know it's not a double? Was it a double fake?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, exactly. And then Hammond Pierce, it says, I assure you this is no double fake or something.
Yeah. This is real. Yeah.
This is real.
Yeah. Which is, I think the best possible answer, like writing wise to that question.
Right.
Just have them hear the voice out of the mist.
Yep. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And we do have some feedback.
Excellent.
Wrapping up this episode, looking way back to the Fifth Man, which was, I think, a couple of seasons of SG1 ago at least.
It's been a while.
USMC 935, who's been going back and watching our back catalog there, comments, I have come to the point where I've listened to you enough that I knew Lisa wouldn't like it before she said it. But they add, this is also one of my favorite episodes of SG1, like top 15. And,
wow.
Yeah, that's the one with the little weird alien guy who looks like Lieutenant Tyler.
Oh, yeah, everybody remembers him, but they don't know how they remember him. Yeah.
Yeah.
Touching through the fabric.
Yeah. And I think we overall liked that episode. So
yeah. Now I got to go back and listen to why I didn't like it.
Yeah,
I don't remember.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah. So thank you, USMC 935 for your comment. Feel free to leave comments on our YouTube channel or visit us on Discord and all over the place. But first, we'd like to take a moment to thank our patrons who make it possible for us to create The Secrets of Stargate, including Ruth K., Joseph F., Henry L., Mark K., and Kevin L. Their generous donations at sqpn.com/give make it possible for us to continue The Secrets of Stargate and all the shows on StarQuest. And you can join them by visiting sqpn.com/give, and be sure to follow the show on Apple Podcasts, TuneIn, Spotify, iHeartRadio, or find our video versions on youtube.com/StarQuestMedia or on Spotify. I was just watching us on Spotify earlier today, but not for very long. I just wanted to see if we were up there, and we are. So to find previous episodes of Secret of Stargate and to send feedback, please visit sqpn.com/Stargate. And you can email us at stargate@sqpn.com or follow StarQuest on social media at facebook.com/StarQuestMedia or on Twitter/X @SQPN. Before we conclude, Father Cory has some important sentiments that he would like to share with us.
Well, as I've said before, I'm working on going into the military chaplaincy. Unfortunately, I said wanted to go in the Air Force because I was inspired by Stargate, but unfortunately the Air Force didn't want me, maybe because they knew I was involved with Stargate. Oh, he's one of those geeks. We don't want him. No, I got just some simple hearing loss. It's just something the Air Force that was out of regs, so they didn't take me, but I'm still working on it. I'm hoping to go into the Army now. But one thing I have to do though is I had to decide a point to end my time doing podcasting, and sadly that time has come. If you've listened to some of our other podcasts that I'm on, you probably have already heard that I am finishing up. This will be my last recording of Secrets of Stargate. It's been a great run. It's been great to help launch this podcast. It's been fun to talk about almost eight seasons Star SG-1 and almost a full season of Atlantis. It's been a blast. Been glad to get into Atlantis at least, definitely. But this actually is my last regular podcast I will be on with StarQuest, and I don't know if I'll be able to come back. I hope so. Once in a while, come back for a special episode or something like that. Maybe when we get to the end of SG-1, I could come back and talk about the movies or something like that. We'll see. See when you get there in a few years. But it's been a blast. It's been a blast, being with Victor and Lisa and Jack, unfortunately, who couldn't be here tonight. It's been great to, hear from the listeners, hear from folks that, that they enjoy what we're doing. And I hope things will go well in the future for Secrets of Stargate and for StarQuest. And I hope you continue to enjoy listening to the podcasts.
Well, we'll certainly, we'll miss you. I mean, you are the Secrets of Stargate and definitely the voice of StarQuest and this show, and the Secrets of Doctor Who and Secrets of Star Trek will not
definitely one of them
be the same. Yeah. And it's been a real pleasure to do this with you.
And we'll be praying for you as you start
Absolutely.
this new part of your vocation.
Well, appreciate it. Appreciate it very much. Appreciate the prayers and prayers for everyone involved.
Yep. Close the iris. Sorry. Anyways, where do we go from here?
So, what are you guys going to talk about next week?
Well, next week, and you're sure missing out because we're going to be talking about the next episode of SG-1 Endgame. But until then, Father Cory Sticha, thank you for joining us tonight and every night in the past on the Secrets of Stargate.
Well, thank you, Victor.
And thank you, Lisa Jones.
Thanks, Victor.
And once again, I'm Victor Lambs. Thank you for listening to the Secrets of Stargate on StarQuest. And remember, this might as well say, Bing Tittle Tittle Bong. It's complete gibberish.
Anyway, I'm sorry, but that just happens to be how I feel about it. What do you think?